Inner calm attracts everything you seek, practical Buddhism. In the noise of modern existence, people chase peace the way a thirsty traveler seeks water in a desert. We live surrounded by movement, ambition, and endless distraction, yet what the human heart truly seeks is calmness. The paradox of spiritual life is that the more we run after peace, the farther it moves away. Buddhism teaches that peace is not something to be found outside. It is revealed when all chasing stops. Inner calm is the natural state of the awakened mind, a silent lake that reflects truth, love, and wisdom perfectly once its surface is no longer disturbed by waves of fear, craving, and resistance. The teachings of the Buddha point toward one powerful realization. Everything you seek, happiness, love, success, clarity, begins when the mind rests in stillness. It is not through control, but through understanding that we become serene. Not through grasping, but through letting go. When you are calm, you become a mirror of the universe, and all things that resonate with your peace begin to flow toward you naturally. In this journey through practical Buddhism, we will explore 5 profound truths about cultivating inner calm, learning not only to understand it, but to embody it. This calm is not passive. It is the living power that transforms suffering into wisdom. It is the gateway through which the energy of the universe begins to align with your soul's purpose. The still mind, where all seeking ends. When a person begins to sit in silence, truly sit, without expectation or goal, something extraordinary begins to unfold. The restless waves of thought, emotion, and anxiety that define our days start to slow. The body relaxes, and the mind, once a storm, begins to reveal its deeper nature. This is what the Buddha meant when he spoke of cessation, the end of inner turmoil. The moment the seeker realizes that what he has been chasing was always within him. To understand inner calm, one must begin with awareness. The mind is like a pool filled with mud. The more we stir it with desire, worry, or fear, the murkier it becomes. But if we stop stirring and if we simply observe, the sediment naturally settles. The water clears. In that clarity, we see reality as it truly is. We begin to perceive the truth of impermanence, that every thought, feeling, and experience arises and fades away on its own. Nothing lasts, and therefore nothing should be clung to. The problem is not in having thoughts or emotions, but in believing they define who we are. The Buddha taught that clinging is the root of suffering. Clinging to pleasure, to opinions, to the illusion of control. Inner calm is born when we stop fighting life's impermanence and begin to float with it. When you accept that nothing stays, you stop fearing loss. You begin to experience life not as something to be conquered, but as something to be harmonized with. When a lake is still, it reflects the sky. Likewise, when the mind is still, it reflects truth. In that state, intuition blossoms. You begin to hear the subtle voice of wisdom that has always been whispering beneath the noise. This voice does not argue or demand, it simply shows what is. Through meditation, mindfulness, and conscious breathing, we create space for that voice to guide us. Stillness is not weakness, it is clarity. It allows you to act without being pushed by anger, fear, or impulsive craving. You begin to choose consciously rather than react automatically. Life ceases to be a series of emotional explosions and becomes a flowing rhythm of awareness. As the stillness deepens, something mysterious occurs. Life begins to rearrange itself around your inner frequency. People who resonate with peace are drawn to you. Opportunities appear without struggle. It is not magic, it is resonance. When your energy is calm, you stop blocking what is naturally yours. You become a vessel through which existence flows freely. The secret, then, is not to seek calm, but to stop disturbing it. The more we chase peace, the more we affirm that we lack it. But when we stop chasing, when we sit quietly and allow the present moment to simply be, we discover that calmness was never gone, only covered by the dust of mental noise. A calm mind is not detached from life. It participates fully, but from a place of wisdom. It feels emotions, but does not drown in them. It experiences pain, but sees through it. It walks through chaos, but remains unshaken. That is the power of a mind at rest, a mind that has learned the art of surrender. Every teaching of the Buddha points back to this same truth. The outer world mirrors the inner world. The calm you cultivate within becomes the peace you see outside. The love you embody becomes the relationships that find you. The silence you carry becomes the harmony that surrounds you. Therefore, begin today, not by trying to change your entire life, but by taking one conscious breath. Let that breath anchor you to this moment. Feel it, witness it. In that single act, you have already begun to awaken. When you learn to rest within your own being, all seeking ends. Because in the quiet center of your existence, everything you were looking for has always been waiting. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Your journey toward inner calm begins now, and together we'll walk this path of awakening and peace. The power of acceptance. Flowing with what is the greatest illusion that keeps human beings in restlessness is the idea that peace will come when life finally matches their expectations. The mind says, when this happens, I'll be happy. When I get there, I'll rest. Yet as soon as one desire is achieved, another appears, and the circle of suffering continues. Buddhism teaches that the source of our agitation is not the world, but our resistance to it. When we say no to the present moment, we create inner conflict. When we say yes, when we flow with what is rather than fight it, peace naturally arises. Acceptance is not resignation. It does not mean passivity or weakness. It is a deep wisdom that understands the futility of struggling against what already exists. The Buddha's path begins with seeing reality clearly. We cannot change what we refuse to acknowledge. Acceptance means saying, this is how things are right now, without denial or judgment. From that place of clarity, we can act wisely. Resistance keeps us blind. Acceptance opens our eyes. Imagine a river flowing down a mountain. If you throw a rock into it, the water doesn't fight the rock. It simply flows around it. The water remains water, flexible yet unstoppable. The calm mind is like that river. It meets obstacles with awareness, not resistance. The rock may remain, but the water continues its journey, and in time, the rock itself is shaped smooth by the gentle persistence of flow. This is the Buddhist understanding of acceptance, soft power, silent strength. When we accept, we release the illusion of control. We see that much of life is beyond our manipulation. Weather, time, other people's thoughts, the movement of destiny itself. The attempt to control all of this is exhausting. We lose our energy trying to force the world into the image we want, but acceptance gives that energy back to us. The moment we stop fighting reality, we become lighter, clearer, more open to grace. What was once a burden becomes a lesson. The practice of acceptance begins within. We must first accept ourselves, our past, our flaws, our humanity. So many people live in inner war, judging themselves relentlessly, unable to forgive who they were yesterday. But how can calmness grow in a mind filled with self-rejection? When we turn compassion inward, we begin to heal. The Buddha did not teach perfection. He taught understanding. To see your own anger, jealousy, or fear without hatred is the first step toward transformation. Awareness without judgment is pure acceptance. Acceptance also means allowing emotions to arise and pass without suppression. Most suffering is born not from pain itself, but from the resistance to pain. We push away sadness, we hide fear, we pretend not to care. But emotions are energy. They only dissolve when fully felt. The still mind does not fight emotion, it observes it. It watches the fire burn without adding more fuel. And as we witness our inner storms, we discover that they too are impermanent. Everything changes. Even pain is transient when met with calm awareness. In meditation, this truth becomes clear. You sit, you breathe, and you feel the rise and fall of everything. Thoughts appear, sensations move through the body, emotions come and go. Through patient observation, you realize that you are not any of these things. You are the space in which they arise. That space, vast, open, untroubled, is your true nature. It does not resist life. It contains it. The moment you recognize yourself as that awareness, acceptance becomes natural. To live in acceptance is to walk in alignment with the law of impermanence. It means to honor each moment as sacred, knowing that it will never come again. The flower blooms and withers, the sun rises and sets. Each experience is both gift and teacher. Suffering comes when we demand that beauty stay forever or that discomfort end immediately. But life does not obey our commands. It flows by its own rhythm. To be calm is to dance with that rhythm rather than fight it. In relationships, acceptance is equally powerful. We often expect others to meet our emotional needs perfectly, to think as we do, to fulfill roles we have unconsciously written for them. When they don't, we suffer. But when we accept others as they are, without trying to fix or possess them, our relationships become peaceful. We no longer love with conditions, we love with freedom. That freedom nourishes connection rather than destroying it. The same truth applies to the larger movements of destiny. Every event in life, pleasant or painful, carries wisdom. What we call failure often contains the seeds of deeper understanding. Acceptance allows us to see beyond appearances. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" we begin to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That question transforms suffering into awakening. There are moments when life will test your faith, when plans collapse, when people betray you, when the future seems uncertain. The ego will panic and try to regain control, but the heart that has learned acceptance will breathe and remember. Nothing is truly lost. Sometimes things fall apart so better things can be built. Sometimes the path turns because it must lead you where your mind would never dare to go. Acceptance is not learned through theory but through experience. Each disappointment, each delay, each loss becomes a teacher. Slowly, you realize that peace is not the absence of pain, but the presence of trust. You begin to trust the flow of life, even when you cannot see where it is leading. That trust is the fruit of acceptance. And then something beautiful begins to happen. When you stop resisting, when you flow with what is, life itself starts to cooperate with you. The right opportunities, people, and circumstances arise effortlessly. You find yourself in the right place at the right time. What you once chased begins to come to you naturally. This is the quiet magnetism of calm acceptance, the energy that attracts without grasping, that manifests without demand. The Buddha often spoke of the middle way, the path between indulgence and denial, effort and ease, control and surrender. Acceptance is the heart of that middle way. It allows you to act wisely while remaining rooted in peace. You no longer fight reality, but neither do you retreat from it. You move in harmony with the moment. Through acceptance, even suffering becomes sacred. Pain is no longer an enemy, but a messenger pointing you toward greater understanding. You realize that nothing truly goes wrong. Things simply unfold. Every difficulty refines your awareness. Every loss deepens your compassion. The world outside may remain chaotic, but inside you dwell in unshakable calm. The essence of this teaching is simple. Let go of the need to control, and peace will arise by itself. Life's flow is wiser than our plans. The universe does not make mistakes. It only offers opportunities for awakening disguised as challenges. When we stop fighting and start listening, we begin to hear the quiet music behind every moment, the song of existence playing through us. So, breathe deeply. Let the present moment be enough. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the air moving through your lungs, the heartbeat within you. This is life, and it is already whole. Acceptance means realizing that nothing needs to be added or taken away for you to be complete. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself for a while, and in that realization, all struggle ends. If these words bring peace to your heart, remember to subscribe to the channel. Continue walking with us on this path of awareness and calm. Your journey toward inner stillness and freedom has only begun. The discipline of letting go. Freedom through non-attachment. The moment we begin to let go, something profound happens. The mind loosens its grip, the heart expands, and life begins to breathe through us again. Non-attachment, one of the deepest teachings in Buddhism, does not mean indifference or rejection of the world. It means loving without clinging, living without possessing, acting without being owned by the result. It means to hold all things lightly, people, possessions, achievements, even ideas of who we are. This lightness is not cold, it is alive, radiant, and deeply compassionate. Only when we stop clinging can we finally experience true freedom. Attachment is the invisible chain that binds the human mind to suffering. It begins innocently. We love, we desire, we hope. But soon, what was once pure connection turns into fear. Fear of losing, fear of change, fear of the unknown. The Buddha saw that suffering is not born from love itself, but from the attachment that tries to freeze life's movement. Everything in existence is impermanent. To try to hold anything forever is to fight the nature of reality itself. Letting go, therefore, is not an act of loss, but of alignment with truth. The practice of letting go requires courage. The ego feeds on attachment because attachment gives it identity. This is my success, my partner, and my belief, my plan. But when those things shift, as they always do, the ego feels threatened because it confuses possession with existence. The path of awakening asks us to see deeper. You are not what you hold on to. You are the awareness that experiences all things coming and going. To let go is to trust that what is truly yours cannot be taken from you, and what leaves was never meant to stay. We live in a culture that glorifies accumulation, more achievements, more possessions, more control. We are taught to build our identity upon what we own or accomplish. But this endless accumulation leads to exhaustion, not peace. Buddhism reverses the logic of the world. It says that freedom is subtraction, not addition. The lighter you travel, the farther you go. When you release the unnecessary, what remains is essence. Clarity, simplicity, stillness. Letting go does not mean detaching from life's beauty. It means being fully present in it without becoming enslaved by it. When you eat, truly taste the food, but don't cling to the flavor once it's gone. When you love, give yourself completely, but don't imprison the other person in expectation. When you succeed, enjoy the fruit of your work, but don't let it define your worth. Non-attachment is the art of being in the world, but not of it, of dancing with the moment while knowing the music will fade, yet remaining grateful for having heard it. To understand letting go, we must first see how deeply we are attached. The human mind clings to opinions, identities, and narratives like a drowning person clings to a piece of wood. We believe our thoughts are truth, our feelings are facts, our roles are permanent. But when life changes, when relationships end, careers collapse, bodies age, we suffer because we built our home on sand. The practice of mindfulness reveals this impermanence again and again, teaching us to rest not on the shifting waves, but in the vast ocean beneath them. In meditation, letting go is a moment-by-moment practice. Thoughts arise, we notice them, then release them. A sensation appears, we observe it, then let it pass. Through repetition, the mind learns not to grasp. This is how the inner muscle of equanimity is built. Over time, you begin to apply this to life itself. You stop chasing what you cannot keep, and you stop resisting what you cannot avoid. What remains is peace, not the peace of control, but the peace of surrender. The paradox of letting go is that it gives us back everything we truly need. When you stop clinging to people, they come closer because love becomes free. When you stop demanding success, your actions become natural and excellence arises effortlessly. When you stop fearing loss, gratitude blooms. Non-attachment does not make life smaller, it makes it infinite. Because you are no longer confined by your wants, you can embrace the totality of existence. The Buddha used a powerful metaphor. He said, the Dharma, his teaching, is like a raft used to cross a river. Once you reach the other side, you don't carry the raft on your back. You leave it behind. Likewise, every belief, every method, every identity is only a tool. Clinging to it after it has served its purpose turns it into a burden. To walk freely, you must constantly let go, even of spiritual pride, even of the idea of enlightenment itself. True liberation leaves you empty, and that emptiness is fullness. In everyday life, letting go often feels like loss because the ego interprets every release as defeat. But if you look deeper, you will see that behind every ending lies space for something new. The relationship that ended made room for self-discovery. The job that vanished opened a path to your calling. The dream that failed released you from illusions that were never yours to begin with. Each letting go is a doorway to a greater authenticity. Non-attachment also transforms our relationship with time. The attached mind is always elsewhere, regretting the past, fearing the future. But the mind that lets go returns to the present. It rests in the only reality that exists, now. When you are fully here, every action becomes sacred, every breath meaningful. Letting go of past wounds and future expectations liberates your attention, and with that attention, you rediscover the beauty of simply being alive. To let go is not to become numb. It is to feel everything deeply, yet hold nothing tightly. It is to weep when grief comes, to laugh when joy arrives, and to bow when both leave. It is to say yes to the flow of existence without demanding that it fit your preferences. This openness turns life into meditation. Every moment, no matter how ordinary, becomes a chance to practice presence. In relationships, letting go means respecting the freedom of others. Love rooted in attachment is suffocating. Love born of freedom is divine. The calm heart does not seek to possess. It seeks to understand. It gives space rather than control, listens rather than demands. This kind of love heals rather than wounds. It sees the beloved not as an object to complete us, but as a mirror reflecting our own wholeness. When we let go of needing others to make us happy, we begin to experience true companionship, a meeting of souls, not of dependencies. Letting go is also the way to heal suffering. Pain lingers because we keep touching it, replaying it, identifying with it. We say, "This happened to me," and we carry the story for years. But pain, when observed without attachment, loses its power. It becomes pure sensation, pure energy passing through. The Buddha called this the second arrow. The first arrow is the event itself. The second is our mental resistance to it. Letting go means removing that second arrow, refusing to keep hurting ourselves after the moment has passed. Non-attachment brings humility. You realize that nothing truly belongs to you, not even your body, not even your breath. Everything is borrowed from the universe and will one day return to it. This awareness deepens gratitude. You cherish every moment because you know it is temporary. You love without expectation because you understand the fragility of all things. This humility softens the heart, and in that softness, compassion blossoms. The disciplined practice of letting go requires awareness and patience. You will notice attachments reappear in subtle forms: pride in spiritual progress, dependence on praise, fear of uncertainty. The mind clings in countless ways, but each time you become aware, each time you breathe and release, you weaken the chain. Slowly, the grip loosens. Freedom grows. You start to live lightly, like a leaf carried by the wind, moving wherever life takes you, yet always at peace. To live without attachment does not mean to live without direction. You can still have goals, dreams, and commitments. But you act from inner calm, not inner hunger. You give your best, then let go of the outcome. You trust that whatever happens serves your growth. This is what the Bhagavad Gita, which shares deep resonance with Buddhist thought, calls action without attachment. It is the highest form of wisdom, to do without grasping, to serve without seeking reward. Letting go also means forgiving. Holding on to anger is one of the strongest forms of attachment. It ties you to the past and poisons the present. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened was right. It is saying, I will no longer let this control my heart. It is the ultimate act of letting go, releasing the heavy burden of resentment. When you forgive, you reclaim your peace. The one who benefits most from forgiveness is always you. There is a moment in deep meditation when the mind truly releases, even the desire to meditate, even the sense of effort. In that instant, something vast opens. You feel infinite space within you. The boundaries between self and world dissolve. That is the essence of letting go. The realization that there was never anything to hold on to, because everything is already one. The seeker disappears, and only awareness remains. This freedom is not an escape from life, but a complete embrace of it. You can walk through the marketplace of the world with a smile, knowing that gain and loss, praise and blame, joy and sorrow are simply waves in the same ocean. You no longer fear change, because you have become change itself. You no longer seek permanence, because you have seen that what you are is beyond time. To let go, then, is not to give up. It is to wake up. It is to awaken to the reality that life, in its ever-shifting dance, is perfect in its impermanence. You cannot possess it, but you can participate in it fully. You can bow to its rhythm and find joy in its unfolding. When you let go of control, you enter the flow of grace. This is the secret of calm attraction. When you release the desperate grasping that comes from fear, you open yourself to the gentle magnetism of being. You become aligned with the natural intelligence of existence, which brings to you exactly what is needed in perfect timing. The universe responds not to tension, but to harmony. The quieter you become, the more effortlessly life serves you. Letting go is a daily discipline, a lifelong art. Every morning, you wake up and practice releasing yesterday, releasing expectations, releasing control. Each act of surrender polishes the mirror of your consciousness, and as that mirror becomes clear, you begin to reflect the divine peace that was always within you. In the end, everything you cling to will slip away, but what remains, awareness, love, presence, can never be lost. That is who you are. Letting go simply removes what hides it. So live lightly, love deeply, act wisely, and keep releasing everything that binds you to suffering. In that state of non-attachment, you will discover a freedom that no circumstance can destroy. The freedom of a calm heart, wide as the sky, unshaken by the winds of the world. If these reflections resonate with your journey, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Continue walking this path of stillness, detachment, and wisdom. The freedom you seek is already within you. Let's awaken to it together. The strength of stillness. How silence becomes power. In a world that glorifies noise, speed, and constant movement, stillness has become one of the rarest forms of strength. People often associate power with action, with doing, striving, achieving, and conquering. Yet the wisdom of Buddhism reverses this idea. It teaches that true strength arises not from motion, but from stillness. Silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is the space where wisdom is born, where insight ripens, where the voice of truth can finally be heard. The person who has learned to be still has discovered the greatest source of power available to a human being, the power that no external force can disturb. When the Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree and entered deep meditation, he did not fight, argue, or run from the storms of temptation and fear that surrounded him. He sat in absolute stillness. Demons appeared, illusions tried to shake him, and the voices of doubt whispered that he was unworthy. Yet he remained unmoved. That stillness was not weakness. It was the unshakable strength of awareness. Through that silent immovability, he overcame every illusion and awakened to reality. This is the same stillness that lives within each of us, waiting to be remembered. Stillness is not about freezing the body or suppressing thought. It is about being deeply present in the moment without resistance. When you are still, you are not escaping life. You are entering it fully. You see everything clearly because the mind is no longer clouded by reaction or desire. You stop trying to control the moment and start allowing it to unfold naturally. In this allowing, you align yourself with the flow of existence. You discover that silence is not a void, but a doorway, a passage into a dimension of life beyond fear and time. The mind is a restless animal, constantly jumping from one thought to another. It feeds on stimulation, distraction, and noise. When we begin to practice stillness, the mind resists. It tells us we are wasting time, that we must be productive, that sitting in silence accomplishes nothing. But the truth is that everything meaningful arises from silence: creativity, clarity, compassion, and understanding. The greatest ideas, the deepest realizations, and the most profound healings come when the noise fades and we can finally hear the whisper of the soul. Stillness does not mean inactivity. It means right action, born of clarity. When your mind is calm, every movement becomes efficient, purposeful, and in harmony with the moment. The still person can accomplish more with one conscious act than the restless one can achieve with 1,000 frantic efforts. This is because stillness connects you to the source of all energy, the silent intelligence of the universe. You stop wasting energy in worry, doubt, or mental chatter. You become like a clear channel through which life flows freely. In Buddhism, meditation is the cultivation of this stillness. You sit, breathe, and let go of everything unnecessary. At first, thoughts bombard you, memories, plans, judgments, but you do not fight them. You watch them as you would watch clouds passing through the sky. Slowly, a gap appears between thoughts. That gap is silence. The more you rest in it, the wider it becomes. Eventually, you begin to experience the awareness that exists beyond thinking, pure, timeless, luminous. That awareness is not something you create, it is what you are. Meditation simply reveals it. This inner silence becomes a foundation for life. When you face challenges, instead of reacting impulsively, you pause, you listen, you allow space before responding. In that space lies freedom. The freedom to choose wisdom over emotion, understanding over fear. The still person does not get swept away by the currents of circumstance. They move with calm precision because they are guided by inner clarity rather than external chaos. The strength of stillness is most visible in moments of turmoil. When others panic, the calm person remains grounded. Their presence alone becomes healing for those around them. This is not because they are detached or cold, but because they have discovered that peace is not dependent on conditions. It is an inner state, independent of what is happening outside. Such a person becomes like a mountain. Storms may rage around it, but its core remains unmoved. Stillness teaches us to listen, not only to others but to life itself. Most of us listen only to respond, to defend, to react. True listening means being silent inside, open, receptive. When you listen with your whole being, you begin to perceive things others cannot. You sense the subtle movements of energy, the unsaid emotions, the unspoken truths. This awareness deepens your compassion and wisdom. Silence becomes communication at its highest level, the language of the heart. Through stillness, we also rediscover simplicity. The mind thrives on complexity. It loves to analyze, categorize, and compare. But truth is simple. It does not need ornament or explanation. When you are still, you realize that life itself is simple. Breathe, observe, act when needed, rest when not. The rest is noise created by thought. This simplicity brings deep relief. You stop trying to solve everything and start trusting the natural intelligence of existence. Stillness also heals. The body mirrors the mind. A restless mind creates tension in the body, while a calm mind allows the body to relax and regenerate. When you sit in silence, the nervous system resets, the breath deepens, the heart slows, and the cells begin to repair themselves. Many people discover that silence is not only spiritual medicine, but physical as well. The energy that was once consumed by mental agitation becomes available for healing and vitality. In silence, the heart opens. Words are limited, they divide and define. But silence unites. When you share silence with another being, in meditation, in love, in grief, something sacred happens. You meet beyond identity, beyond stories. The walls of separation fall, and a quiet sense of unity arises. This is the essence of compassion, recognizing that beneath all appearances, we share the same still space of awareness. Stillness also gives rise to intuition. The rational mind operates through logic, but intuition comes from silence. It is the direct knowing that arises when the noise of thought subsides. It is like the reflection of the moon on a still pond. When the water is calm, the reflection is clear. When you are inwardly silent, guidance appears effortlessly. You do not need to search for answers. They arise naturally from within. The paradox of stillness is that it is both the simplest and the hardest thing to practice. It requires nothing, no tools, no rituals, no words, yet the mind resists it because silence exposes everything we have been avoiding. In stillness, we meet ourselves without disguise. All the suppressed emotions, fears, and illusions rise to the surface. Many people run from silence because they are afraid of this confrontation. But if we stay, if we allow everything to arise without fleeing, the waves eventually settle, and the clarity that follows is beyond description. There comes a moment when silence becomes not something you practice, but something you are. You carry it into every activity, walking, eating, speaking, working. Even in the midst of noise, an inner quiet remains. You become like the eye of a hurricane, surrounded by movement, yet untouched by it. This inner stillness transforms your interactions. Your words become few but powerful. Your presence speaks louder than speech. People feel calm around you because your energy radiates peace. The more you cultivate stillness, the more you realize that it is the true source of creativity. The greatest works of art, music, and literature are born from moments of silence. In stillness, inspiration descends like a soft breeze, whispering ideas that cannot be forced by willpower. The mind, when silent, becomes a clear channel for universal intelligence. To create from silence is to create from truth. Stillness also dissolves fear. Fear is a product of time, the mind's projection into the future. When you are fully present, fear has no ground to stand on. In silence, you begin to see that what you feared were only shadows of thought. Reality, as it is never frightening. It is neutral, pure and vast. The calm person does not eliminate fear by fighting it, but by seeing through it. The moment you face fear in stillness, it loses its hold over you. Another power of stillness is patience. Modern life teaches impatience, instant gratification, constant movement. But spiritual growth unfolds at its own pace. A tree does not rush to bear fruit. It grows silently, slowly, in harmony with the seasons. The same is true for awakening. Stillness teaches us to wait without tension, to trust the invisible processes at work within us and around us. In that waiting, transformation happens naturally. When you cultivate stillness, you stop reacting to every emotion or event. Instead, you respond with awareness. Reaction is automatic, born from habit and conditioning. Response is conscious, born from understanding. This shift is the essence of inner maturity. You no longer let anger control you, nor do you suppress it. You simply see it arise, understand its cause, and let it pass. This mastery of response is the mark of true strength, not to dominate others, but to govern oneself. As your stillness deepens, you begin to perceive life differently. What once seemed chaotic now appears harmonious. What once felt meaningless reveals hidden order. The outer world has not changed, your perception has. You see that everything moves according to an unseen intelligence, and you begin to relax into that understanding. Life no longer feels like a battle to win, but a mystery to participate in. This is the peace that passes understanding, the calm of one who has seen beyond illusion. Stillness does not isolate you from the world. It connects you to it more deeply. You begin to sense the subtle rhythm of existence, the rise and fall of breath, the cycle of day and night, the turning of the seasons, the heartbeat of the planet. You feel yourself as part of this living web, not separate from it. This realization brings reverence. You treat every being with gentleness because you see your own essence reflected in them. There is a quiet majesty in those who live from stillness. They need not prove or display their power. Their presence alone communicates strength. They do not seek attention because they have nothing to prove. They do not fear solitude because they have discovered the richness of their own company. They move through life with grace, unaffected by praise or blame, gain or loss. Their peace is unshakable because it is rooted in silence, not circumstance. This is the strength of stillness, the strength that comes from alignment with truth. The calm person is not the one who has escaped difficulty, but the one who has stopped being enslaved by it. They have learned that silence is not absence, but presence, the presence of awareness, the presence of love, the presence of life itself. So when the world becomes too loud, when your mind becomes restless, remember, stillness is always available. It is not something you have to find, it is something you return to. Beneath the noise of thought, beneath the rush of emotion, there is a quiet center that has never been disturbed. Rest there. Breathe there. That is your home. Every great transformation begins in silence. Every awakening begins in stillness, and the moment you touch that space, even for a second, you realize that nothing outside you can give what silence offers freely: peace, clarity, and strength. Remain there, and you will discover that stillness is not the absence of life, it is the very essence of it. If this reflection speaks to your heart, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Let this be your reminder to return again and again to the stillness within you, where true power, wisdom, and peace are born. The radiance of inner calm. When peace becomes your natural state. The journey through the teachings of practical Buddhism brings us finally to the deepest realization. Peace is not something you achieve. It is what remains when everything false falls away. It is not built, forced, or earned. It is uncovered like the sky revealed when the clouds disperse. Inner calm is the natural state of the awakened being, a state not dependent on possessions, recognition, or conditions. It is a luminous stillness that radiates from within and transforms everything it touches. This calmness is not the fragile quiet that breaks at the first sound of conflict. It is the unshakable silence that endures beneath every storm. It is the still center of all motion, the eternal witness behind the endless play of forms. To understand this radiance of calm, one must experience the full cycle of human restlessness: desire, pursuit, exhaustion, and surrender. We chase peace through the world like a reflection on water. We believe it hides in success, in love, in security, in the fulfillment of dreams. But every time we reach for it, it slips away, because we are seeking outside what can only be found within. The truth is that peace does not come when life is perfect. It comes when we no longer demand that it be. The moment you stop arguing with reality, the moment you stop insisting that things should be different, calm emerges by itself. It has always been there, buried beneath layers of resistance. This inner calm is not apathy. It is the highest form of intelligence. It sees the world exactly as it is and remains serene because it understands impermanence. The calm person knows that everything changes and therefore clings to nothing. When joy comes, they enjoy it fully, knowing it will pass. When sorrow comes, they endure it gently, knowing it too will pass. This understanding creates balance. Not a cold detachment, but a warm, compassionate presence that accepts both sunrise and sunset with the same grace. To live in such calmness requires the death of illusion, the illusion that we are separate from life, the illusion that happiness lies in control, the illusion that our worth depends on outcomes. All must dissolve. What remains after these illusions fade is simplicity, being here, now, breathing, witnessing. You discover that peace is not in the future but in this very moment. The present is the only place where stillness exists, because the past is memory and the future is imagination. The calm person lives rooted in the now, not as a concept but as an experience. Each breath, each step, each sound becomes a doorway to eternity. When you rest in this awareness, the world begins to change. Not because the outer events are different, but because your perception is. You stop reacting, you start responding. You stop resisting, you start flowing. You no longer fight against the current of life, but move with it, guided by trust instead of fear. This trust is the fruit of calmness. It is not naive, it is profound. It knows that the same intelligence that makes the stars move also guides your path. The calm heart is not afraid of what comes, because it understands that everything is part of the great unfolding. Many people fear calmness because they mistake it for boredom or emptiness. They think that if they stop chasing, life will lose its flavor. But true calm is not dull, it is vibrant. It is not emptiness in the negative sense, but spaciousness in the sacred sense. When the noise of thought subsides, what arises is an aliveness more profound than excitement. You begin to sense the pulse of existence itself, the silence between sounds, the light within darkness, the presence beneath absence. Every moment becomes rich because you are no longer somewhere else in your mind. You are here, fully alive, fully aware. To live in this state does not mean that challenges disappear. Life continues to bring its lessons: loss, change, uncertainty, endings. But the calm person meets them differently. They do not run, they do not collapse, they do not cling. They look at the situation with clear eyes and an open heart, asking, "What is life trying to show me now?" This openness transforms suffering into wisdom. Every difficulty becomes a step deeper into understanding. Inner calm does not shield you from pain, but it makes you immune to despair. It gives you the strength to walk through fire without burning. In the teachings of the Buddha, peace is not separate from wisdom and compassion. They are one and the same flower with three petals. When you are calm, you see clearly. When you see clearly, you understand. When you understand, compassion arises naturally. The calm person does not judge others harshly because they know how easily the mind becomes trapped by ignorance and fear. They see the suffering beneath anger, the confusion beneath cruelty, and therefore respond with patience. Their calmness is not indifference, but love expressed as understanding. Such calmness has magnetic power. People are drawn to it because in its presence they feel safe. It does not try to impress or control. It simply is. Like a still lake reflecting the sky, it invites others to see their own reflection clearly. The calm person does not preach peace, they embody it. Their very presence teaches more than words ever could. They walk through crowds like a silent blessing, affecting the hearts of others without effort. This is the true influence, not domination, but resonance. To reach this level of calmness, one must continuously return to awareness. The mind will wander, emotions will surge, memories will surface. But every time you come back, to the breath, to the body, to the moment, you strengthen your connection with peace. This is the real meditation, not escaping the world, but being fully in it while remaining unshaken. Calmness is not found in isolation from life, but in intimacy with it. You can be still even in movement, silent even while speaking, at rest even while working. The external world becomes a mirror for your inner state, and as you maintain peace within, harmony begins to manifest around you. It is important to understand that inner calm does not mean you lose passion or purpose. On the contrary, it deepens both. When you act from stillness, your actions are pure, precise, and powerful. They are no longer driven by insecurity or fear of failure. You give your best without attachment to the result. You work with joy because the doing itself becomes meditation. You love not to be loved back, but because love is your nature. You give not to receive, but because giving is the natural expression of abundance. Calmness transforms every action into sacred service. There is also a profound connection between calmness and gratitude. When you are calm, you begin to notice the subtle gifts of existence, the warmth of sunlight, the taste of water, the sound of wind through trees. You realize how much life gives without demanding anything in return. Gratitude then becomes effortless, and gratitude in turn deepens calmness. The heart that says thank you for every breath cannot be restless. It is anchored in appreciation, and that anchor holds firm even when waves rise. The radiant calm that Buddhism speaks of is not something far away, reserved for saints and sages. It is available here now to anyone willing to stop and look inward. The door to peace is open in every moment, but few enter because they are too busy knocking on doors that lead nowhere. You do not need to retire to a monastery or escape the world. You only need to awaken where you are. The path is simple. Breathe, observe, let go, and trust. In doing so, you return to your true nature, which has always been calm, wise, and free. As your inner calm matures, your relationship with the world changes fundamentally. You stop taking things personally. You understand that others act from their own conditioning, fears, and wounds. Their behavior is not a reflection of your worth. This realization frees you from emotional entanglement. You forgive easily because you no longer need to carry the weight of offense. You see that anger and resentment are like drinking poison, hoping the other person suffers. Calmness gives you the maturity to release such poisons and walk lightly. In this state of calm awareness, life begins to feel sacred again. Ordinary moments shimmer with quiet beauty. a child's laughter, the sound of rain, the rhythm of footsteps. You no longer rush past them in search of important things. You see that every moment is the important thing. This recognition changes your entire way of being. You no longer live for special occasions. You live in constant reverence for the now. This is what it means to awaken, not to escape the world, but to finally see it as it is. Inner calm also brings resilience. When challenges arise, you no longer break. You bend. You respond with patience, creativity, and trust. You understand that problems are not punishments, but invitations to grow. You do not panic when doors close, because you know life opens new ones in perfect timing. You begin to sense that everything is happening for you, not to you. This shift from resistance to trust transforms suffering into grace. You start to live as if everything that happens is an ally, guiding you toward greater awareness. As calmness deepens, even death loses its terror. You realize that what you truly are, awareness itself, cannot die. Bodies dissolve, forms change, memories fade, but the silent witness behind them remains untouched. This understanding does not make you detached from life, it makes you cherish it more. You appreciate every sunrise because you know it will not last. You love deeply because you know every encounter is precious. Calmness thus becomes the fragrance of wisdom, the sweet acceptance of the mystery that nothing is permanent, yet everything is perfect. When peace becomes your natural state, you stop searching for meaning and start living meaningfully. You no longer need to prove yourself because you are at home in yourself. You no longer seek happiness because you have become happiness itself. This is not arrogance, but humility. The humility of one who has seen that everything is divine. Calmness allows you to see the divine not only in temples or texts, but in the eyes of a stranger, in the rhythm of work, in the silence between words. And perhaps the greatest miracle of inner calm is that it transforms not only you, but everyone around you. A calm person radiates stability in a chaotic world. They become a sanctuary for others, a place where people feel seen, heard, and accepted. Without trying to teach, they become teachers. Without effort, they inspire peace. This is how one peaceful person can change the world, not through argument or power, but through presence. Ultimately, the radiance of inner calm is not something to attain, but something to remember. It is your birthright, your original nature. Beneath every fear, every doubt, every story, there is a deep silence that has never been disturbed. That silence is you. When you rest in it, you realize that nothing is missing, nothing is broken, and nothing needs to be fixed. You are part of the great flow of existence, and existence is whole. So let the mind grow quiet, let the heart soften, let life be exactly as it is. In that surrender, you will feel something rising within you, a gentle warmth, a luminous presence, a still joy without reason. That is the radiance of inner calm. It is not found in the future, nor hidden in the past. It is shining here, now, in this very breath. Live from that calmness, speak from it, create from it, love from it, and wherever you go, you will carry a light that no darkness can extinguish, the silent, radiant peace of a heart that has come home. If this message has touched your spirit, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Walk with us in this journey of awakening, stillness, and inner peace, where the calm within you becomes the light that guides your entire life.